Hello again, beautiful beings. I am very happy with the way my art turned out yesterday, and I really think that this new art piece that I was resenting for quite a while, I think it's going to be one of my masterpieces, so I'm very excited for it, and this is a part of it. You can't really see it because of the light, but yeah, there we go. Yeah, so check that out, and obviously, you know, I post all of my updates for my art on Instagram stories, so definitely check that out if you want to take a look at the journey of this piece. I'm very excited, and I think I might just ignore all of my emails today and do the rest of it, because when I have the idea, kind of just get obsessed. And also, it's been a weird energy, as you all know, and I have been unmotivated to move forward on work. I've been unmotivated to go out and see friends. I've been really unmotivated to do much of anything. But I've been very creative. I've been feeling like I need some sort of creative outlet. I don't know if you guys are, you know, the same or you're there too. I'm also feeling a little bit nostalgic, maybe because of all of the timeline looping and the collapses, but I'm actually wearing my one of my McMaster shirts. I don't know if you can see the McMaster on the back. That's my university that I went to. Loved it. It was great. So today we are diving into a ton of information. We're talking about celebrity clones, we're talking about reptilians, we're talking about angels, walk-ins, chips and implants, you name it, we're talking about it. I still have this weird haze around me. Once again, I think it's my phone screen, but it's kind of cool. I feel like I'm drifting in between dimensions every time I get on a live video. And what else did I want to mention? Yeah, just a reminder that I am making the next Galactic Federation event, which is December 11th, free. It's going to be on YouTube, and actually, divinely enough, December 11th lands on a Monday. So we have tomorrow, and I've got a really epic topic planned for you guys tomorrow. And then the next Monday after that is going to be the live Q&A with the Galactic Federation. So it's awesome. It's kind of all divine synchronistic. It's going to be at 2:55 or 3 o'clock as those 11 events usually are. So check that out. Thank you, Jeremy, so much for that super chat. If you guys resonate with this information, you know, feel free to super chat or donate or even just sign up and be a member. That is honestly the best way you could support me. It's just that $10 a month, and you get access to over 100 exclusive videos. So that's pretty cool. The other way that you can give back and support as well is check out my journey with my dad. It's the 13 video series, and $11 of that goes right to the Indigenous organization. I think we're up to about $1,000 in donations. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to wait until pretty much after Christmas, and then I'm going to take that and send them a big check, which is going to be really nice. So check that out, and it's a really freaking epic video series, and a couple of you had questions that actually pertain right to the information in that series. So check it out. That's in my School of Awakening. So Lauren, if you could actually just post a link to the journey in the chat, that would be fantastic. Okay, so let's just dive right into it. Why not? Thank you, Lawrence, for that super chat. Thank you. Raquel, hopefully I'm saying that right. Are many of the politicians and celebrities that we see actually clones? Thank you, Sherry, for that super chat. Are many of the politicians and celebrities that we actually see clones? Good question. How do I even answer this? Okay. First of all, I just want to say to people who have never really thought about clones before, I believe clones are real. I believe that they have a whole cloning system. I believe that I've actually seen and astral traveled to, I think at least once before, a cloning facility. Once again, very similar to these top secret military bases. They are deep underground. So that's a real thing. The other thing that I want to say about cloning, right now, I literally don't have a number. I can't say yes, all celebrities and politicians are clones, and I can't say no, none of them are. So I don't really have a number for you, but I will say that one of the first clones I ever channeled, okay guys, this is crazy. I know my content is usually kind of off the rocker or off the norm here, but I'm just going to go into it. The first clone that I've ever channeled, because I was really into channeling cloning and going to the facilities like back in 2012, just because I wanted to know more about it and how that connected with the reptilians, right? And I won't go super into it, but I'll talk about it a little bit. The first clone that I ever channeled was Michael Jackson. I know, right? It's just like, take it or leave it, okay? So I believe that Michael Jackson, in his original beautiful, pure state, was one of the highest vibrational light workers, I've witnessed living while I'm living. Let's just say it that way. Really, truly, Michael Jackson's pure soul. Unfortunately, because of the industry that he was in and because of the type of fame that he, accumulated, because of his pureness, because of his music, because of his pure ability to channel, right? They ended up taking control of him. First, it was the Illuminati. I believe that Michael never agreed to sell his soul to the devil. He didn't need to, right? Or the devil, the reptilians. He didn't need to. He just didn't. And so basically I believe that I don't know how they did this, but they took his DNA and they made a clone of Michael Jackson. And this was the first time, not the first time they'd ever made a clone, but this was the first time they ever made a clone who was so popular. All eyes were on Michael Jackson at that time, and what do? They clone him, right? And they put the clone out there, and all of a sudden it's like, ooh, did Michael get a freaking nose job? Oh, is Michael's skin changing color? It's not vitiligo, guys. I have vitiligo. My dad has vitiligo. I mean, we're white people, but we have vitiligo. I mean, vitiligo is patches of white, especially in contrast to dark skin, right? I mean, there's no way Michael Jackson had vitiligo across his entire body all at once. The problem is that every time they cloned him, the clones got weirder looking and faultier, right? That's just it. I haven't, back in the day, I used to be really interested in what the soul does when the body is cloned over and over again. And really what I think happened with the Michael Jackson clones, and I believe that there were a lot of them, probably like at least 7 versions of Michael Jackson. Once again, this is crazy stuff, right? But it is what it is. It's what I've channeled. And I believe that in Michael's case, I believe that the soul can inhabit the body of the clone over and over again. I believe, though, that because Michael Jackson was very resistant to the system, very resistant to the reptilians, very resistant, he just wanted to be creative and do his own thing, he didn't want to inhabit the body of a clone, and I believe they probably got another soul, most likely a reptilian soul, to inhabit the body of the Michael Jackson clone. Now, I do believe that potentially some of the claims with the pedophilia stuff, I believe that that was true. I believe that it wasn't Michael Jackson who did that. I believe that it was literally the clone and the reptilian soul in the clone body to fuck with his image, to fuck with his purity, to fuck with his magic that he was producing, to taint his image as that pure soul. Really sad, right? What they do? Really, the extents that they go to mess with people. It's messed up. But they had the ability to do that because the world was sleeping. They had the ability to do that because the world was sleeping. You know what, I'm not even going to go there. I was going to make an example, but I'm not going to, because right now, with the vibration, anything we say, we're speaking into existence. So I just want to be careful with the examples that I use. I'm not going to go there, but anyway, so that's my understanding of clones, celebrity clones, and the first time I ever experienced an example of a clone. Anyway, take it or leave it, guys. It's like we're starting off with a punch in the face. All right, let's go over to Chloe Gomez. Are there souls that are programmed to exist just like NPCs, non-player characters, because we live in a programmable reality? Okay, so I thought this was a really cool question, and a ton of other members were upvoting this question, but I don't know what NPCs are. I don't know what non-player characters are. I mean, I do play video games, or games, I guess, but I usually just play The Sims, and I'm always playing. I guess an NPC in The Sims would just be the computer playing the other characters within the Sim world. That's how I'd define it, I guess. So I had to look up this NPC, non-player character, last night, and I think that it's like, I think you're referring to, I might just totally botch this. So say, for example, it would be like a human body that's empty without an individual soul, and something else, maybe a collective, is taking over it. If we're going to go with that example, I'm going to mention, and I'm going to say, yes, there are human bodies that are kind of empty, but there still has to be something that drives it, being the consciousness. And there are so many different variety of species that can inhabit bodies. What I tend to think of right away is Khan, right? The 12th dimensional mantis being self of mine in the future, being able to inhabit and take over many different little creatures and critters, like a snail or a bee or a fly or a gecko or whatever. Yeah, I haven't figured that one out yet. I have not. I mean, the thing is, when I've done thousands of clients and channeled thousands of readings, I've never encountered this firsthand, because I would be surprised if a body came to me without necessarily like a full soul running it to get a reading, right? Souls are curious about their existence because they're sentient and aware of their existence. So I'm not sure. The word is out. I haven't really, dove into that too much. But it also reminds me of the concept of the reptilians using the short little grays as, what do I call them? Biological robots, right? So the gray bodies are empty, and the reptilian souls are able to come through and inhabit or hijack those gray bodies, because the gray bodies themselves are, once again, like biological robots. So if that's possible with the grays, it's got to be possible with human beings. But I also feel like our DNA is so freaking powerful, it would be difficult to kind of skew a human body and make a human body into a biological robot. So I don't know, the word's out on that one. And thank you so much, Corinne, and the others, for the super chats. I really appreciate that. My cup today says rebirth. I think it's very appropriate. Let's just briefly talk about the Schumann resonance recently. What, we hit 800, 500, 800? I mean, literally off the charts, off the freaking scale. And so, there's a couple things. One thing that came to me that I want to channel, but I want to channel later on in my own, privacy, is there a connection to the Schumann resonance and solar flares? And if you're a scientist or some sort of solar flare or astrophysicist expert, and you know the answer to this, please email me. Is there a connection between solar flares and the Schumann resonance? And I feel like there is, and it was so funny. I think you guys know, but a lot of you are new to my channel. Back in 2018, the Galactic Federation told me that there was going to be a solar flare oh my God, I have the hiccups now. There's going to be a solar flare in 2021. Now, back in 2018, I'm like, okay, cool. I'll just wait till 2021, rolls around because it's so far away, and there's so many different parallel timelines that we could hop into. Back in 2008, when they told me, 2018, when they told me, they said there was a 60% likely possibility, but because it was well over 50%, they had to tell me to get me and my people prepared, right? So now I'm thinking with the increasing Schumann resonance, or the power levels, or whatever you want to call it, right, within the Schumann frequency, or within that realm of measurements, and it's spiking, does it have a correlation to solar flares? Are solar flares picking up and actually affecting the vibration of the planet? I wouldn't be surprised. And that's why we're having more glitches in technology. Like, weird things are happening, more glitches in time. Time's been really weird. Things like heating up really randomly. I think Jen was saying, in the chat before this, I've been heating up really randomly as well. Sharp pains in my head as far as like headaches, but really sharp jutting pains throughout my head. And I really do believe that we're just all getting acclimated to this new frequency, and it's all a part of upgrades. So surrender to it, allow your body to go through it. And if at any time you're holding fear through the upgrades and the intense energy that's hitting us, just send those parts of your body pure white light. And that's it. That's really all you have to do. Because that's just the purest form of energy that you can hold. Get yourself out of fear and into love, right? That unconditional love frequency. Yeah, it really reminds me, neural pathways. It feels like neural pathways are being recreated. The other thing that's really been coming to me recently, especially like randomly in the middle of the day, anytime that I'm like free of thought, anytime I'm not distracted and focusing on things, like randomly in the middle of the day, maybe in meditation practice, maybe right before bed, I get these remembrances. I'm remembering dreams from like 20 years ago. I'm remembering I'm having flashbacks of moments that were so just random and like not even significant from years ago. Like, is anyone else getting flashbacks and random remembrances and occurrences? Like, we are shifting and completing and converging the timelines. And I put out a video, timeline convergence. It's been next level. It's been crazy, but it's really cool too. We're updating ourselves, moving into the new year. One more thing that I want to mention before we move on to Anunnaki and technology and all that great stuff. Oh yeah, we don't have to wait until December 21st to work with the portal energy. It's here, guys. What day is it? 6th? The 6th? December 6th or something? 7th? It's hitting us. It's here. So please, okay, be very cognizant, be very aware of the behaviors that you have right now. Yes, you will get challenged. I think I mentioned in a video I did, oh my goodness, where was I? Anyway, it was a video that I did really recently, and I literally mentioned, or was it an interview? Oh yeah, it was my Oneness Festival lecture yesterday. My entire Trello got wiped out. All of my Trello cards that I've built, I don't know if you guys are in Trello, all of my email folders got wiped out. All of my organizational business stuff, mangled. I literally hours just putting everything back. Like, it's just crazy. So ask yourself, what are these challenges? Why is this happening? What is the lesson that you are learning with these challenges? Okay, bring conscious awareness to the trigger and the challenges. Super, super, super important. Okay, and don't feed into behaviors that you don't want to take with you into the new year. And I'm just going to leave it at that. All right, Nicolette Smith. If the Anunnaki were so technologically advanced, why did they create slaves when they could have just created technology to mine for gold? This is an amazing question. Like, this is like one of those, like, let's just nitpick. Like, let's just get in there. I swear years ago, I asked the same question because it's a realistic question. All right, guys, so you're like, you know, the champions of the universe. Like, why wouldn't you just get technology to do this? So I think I know part of the answer because I get the flashes of what went on back then. They originally actually had the Anunnaki mining the gold themselves. Oh yeah, okay. Hold on. Let me just close my eyes and sort it out. But great question. Let's take a look. Yeah. Yep. Exactly. Exactly. So the original image that I got was the Anunnaki themselves mining the gold, which was fine, but they didn't have enough of them and enough of the resources. Now, to mine the gold, right, the original reason why they were here, at least one of the original reasons, they had equipment, they had technology. They had huge pieces of technology and equipment, and they had free energy. And they brought all of that stuff here to this planet, which I think is probably mostly buried around the planet. And basically, the analogy that came to my mind when I closed my eyes and tapped in was if you could imagine a factory, right, full of humans, like a human factory. Factories have tons of technology, and yet they still need the humans to be a part of the production to oversee the technology and the work that the technology is doing. So back then, it wasn't all just humans, you know, grinding away and mining this gold by hand. It was technology and humans working together in tandem, right? And also just realizing that there were many different, what do I call them? Many different generations of humans. So I want to say that there were at least 3 different types of humans that they created, and every type of human that the Anunnaki created back then, based on my channeling, had different limitations, right? So I know at least the first 2 generations, they didn't allow humans to procreate. They weren't, I don't know what it's called. They weren't able to make babies, I guess. And they did this to population control so that the humans didn't take over the Anunnaki, right? And then eventually they just created a system where we could procreate. And the reason why they brought that in is because humans were dying off so quickly and they just had to continue. It was more strenuous to make more humans than it was to just allow the rabbits to do their thing. It's really bad to say, but I'm glad that we're here now. I'm glad that we're here, we're sentient, we're taking back our power. And the coolest thing about the Anunnaki, and like, I work with the Anunnaki all the time. I kind of love them. There's good and bad in every species. But the Anunnaki, after a while, they ended up coming back to this planet. And they were the ones to help to build all of these huge megalithic structures on all of the portal points, on all of the ley line points, all over the planet. They helped to manufacture on the ground of this planet the giant consciousness grid that we know and love and have today. They took their technology to help us build this. I don't know if they felt bad, you know, that, I don't know if they felt bad that they originally created us for slaves, or if they felt in a way indebted to us because they ended up falling in love in a lot of ways with human beings and procreating with us and creating what I call the demigods, right? And we still have these lineages and these lines of Anunnaki, high Anunnaki DNA. Typically, those are the very large humans that we have. I probably don't have much of that Anunnaki DNA. Wish I had a little bit more for my height, but that's okay. And so channeling Apollo and Artemis back in the Greek islands, I started to realize that, you know, a lot of these demigods, this is what I call them, half Anunnaki, half humans, much shorter than Anunnaki, but much taller than human beings. And they cared about humans. They really did. I mean, probably because maybe it's because their mother was human and there's that motherly energy, or if it's just the fact that they felt very, compassionate towards human beings. So they wanted to help us out in a lot of ways. And thank you so much, Christine, for that super chat. Okay, good. Great question. Thank you, Nicolette. Moving on to Stephanie. Hi, EA. I've recently come across a video about soulless humans. Okay, here we go. Another question. It's so interesting how every week the members, you guys will ask very similar questions. And like I said, guys, if you want to ask me questions, just sign up and be a member. It's the best way to donate to me, but also to get tons of content and perks in between the donation as well. $10 a month. So yeah, so okay. Come across a video about soulless humans, human beings with no souls. They might be more numerous than we think, and have been created to lower the global vibration of human consciousness. Do you know anything about that? Okay, so I kind of mentioned what I know about that before. I don't know too much about the soulless humans. I do believe that it's possible to have these kind of biological robots. I don't know to what extent humans can walk around without a soul, because I know that the soul is the thing that drives the being. I do absolutely know that there are bodies walking around being hijacked by low vibrational entities or even reptilian souls. I know that for a fact, and they're kind of here to mess things up and to really skew and distract us, right, in a lot of ways. Yeah, what else do I know about that? That's pretty much it. The other thing too that brings up the question, and maybe I'll just ask it now, ask the higher sources. The other thing that comes up for me is we have right now a wait list of Galactic Federation beings and souls who want to come to this planet. A wait list, believe it or not. Now before, okay, probably when you and I volunteered to be here, they were just pulling teeth to get us here. They were just like doing whatever they could to ask us to come here. Nowadays, there's a wait list. Galactic Federation members want to come here. Back in the day, it was like, you want us to what? To leave our 10th dimensional plane? To be a 3rd dimensional human in the density? Nowadays, there's a wait list because we're not as dense. We're raising, this is the time, we're celebrating. This is like New Year's Eve, right? For the next 50 years on this planet. So they want to be here. We're the ones who volunteer to be here time and time again, right? So the thought for me is, if there are soulless humans, wouldn't the Galactic Federations just swoop in and walk into those bodies? Right? So that's a good question. And we're actually going to be talking about walk-ins in this video as well, which is kind of similar. So let me just ask. I'm just going to see if I can get that information, because when else are we going to be talking about, soulless human bodies and Galactic Federation walk-ins? All right, one second. Yeah. Interesting. Okay. Interesting. Yeah. Okay, so I got the answer. The information that came to me was, I'm trying to articulate this because it all comes through visuals for me. So I'll explain the visual that came. The visual I got was just an amorphous human body, and it was all dark. It was really dark, right? Usually I see the aura of the body. And so they were explaining that, yes, there are these bodies. Now, a lot of channelers or researchers will interpret these human bodies as soulless vessels. That's how they interpret it. But what the Galactic Federation said, because I went to the Palladian Security Council, they said that it'll be misinterpreted, like many things, right? The reason why it's misinterpreted is because these channelers, or I don't know, I guess researchers, are observing, oh, they're just soulless, oh, they don't know, oh, they whatever, And as a matter of fact, what the GFL just mentioned is there has to be a spark. This is what they said. So even though it's a body that's really dark, that's really disconnected, that will seem in a lot of ways very soulless, There's got to be something. There's got to be a little bit of something, some sort of sentience, some sort of consciousness that drives the body. Now, this is the loophole. Super interesting. So cool. Okay, so there will be, let's just call it a reptilian soul, okay? Now, say for example, this reptilian soul is existing in the fourth dimension plane. Maybe they're even existing under the planet, right? Underground. And a lot of them do exist under there, but there's also a lot of really good reptilians that are fighting against the system right now. Anyway, so let's call it a negative reptilian being who's in the fourth dimension density. What the GFL just told me that they have the ability to do is fractal their soul and embody many different human vessels simultaneously. So these human vessels will literally be existing at the bare minimum of existence, right? Maybe they're homeless and on the street. Maybe they're, maybe they're just on autopilot all the time. But because they only have like maybe 1% of a fractal of a soul, they can't really think for themselves. So it'll look like they are some sort of robotic, empty body, but they're not. They can't be. The body cannot exist without the fractal of source, even if it is coming from this negative reptilian oversoul type of energy. The other thing that came, so interesting, and it makes so much sense, the Palladian Security Council said, this is the loophole. And the reptilians know, literally, about all of the loopholes around this matrix reality. We're starting to know about these loopholes and take our freaking power back within them. But the loophole within this system of soulless bodies, soulless, okay, is that because the body, the human body, is being inhabited by a fractal of a soul of the reptilian oversoul, there is no Galactic Federation soul that is able to step into the body because it's already inhabited, and they're not allowed to override. They're not allowed to override law of non-intervention as soul. They're not allowed to override the current state of something. If it was a soulless body altogether, the Galactic Federation would for sure be able to swoop in and inhabit that body. Right? So it's not soulless. We literally can't say that these bodies are soulless. They have something in there. Man, it just sucks. It sucks how the reptilians are taking all the facets, and not just the reptilians, but the low vibrational beings. They're taking all the facets, all the ideas, all the knowledge of this matrix reality, and they're just twisting it and manipulating it and utilizing it for their own needs. So, and I want to tell you that my book that I'm writing right now, I know it's crazy, on past life regression and also just past lifetimes and the whole reptilian karmic debt trap, right? It's another loophole. Like, it's crazy. But this book, like, oh my God, it will liberate you. It will change, it'll shift your DNA so that we no longer have to be confined by their limitations. Like, it's really cool. And kind of scary that this information is coming out because part of me doesn't feel safe releasing that kind of information, but I know it's coming out right now. Like, I just have to hold the trust that it's coming out right now because I am safe to release this information, kind of thing. So good questions, members. Great questions so far. All right, let's move forward to Sterling Lee. Okay, I've heard of light workers talk about reptilians trying to date them. It got me thinking, if reptilians are dating humans, do they ever go so far as having children with humans? Is that even possible? And if so, how would that affect the children? Ah, so good, so good, so good. Okay. All right. So I recently talked about another book where I'm basically accumulating certain sessions that I've had with clients over the past 10 years, and I'm transcribing them and putting them into a book. One of the clients that I've thought of, and I haven't asked her permission yet, and so, you know, she might probably be watching this video, but we're friends now. One of the clients that I've had over the years is the perfect example so I've dated a reptilian before, and probably most of you have seen my reptilian video. And if you haven't, check it out. It's in my most popular playlist. So I've dated a reptilian, and what I've actually done a lot of sessions for clients who have dated reptilians or married reptilians. It's crazy. They're all the same. The manipulation, the charmingness, the freaking power that they have, the spells that they put on, and what they want to do is they want to sleep with as many, and I'm just going to mention reptilian shapeshifters as males because that's the majority of the experience that I've had, but there are reptilian shapeshifters that are females as well. And what the reptilian males want to do the most, okay, with their charming, suave, good looks and their, I don't know, they're just manipulation. They want to sleep with as many women as possible, and they want to get as many human women pregnant as possible. I've talked to clients who have reptilian fathers. Their fathers have 10, 15 children. What do they want to do? They want to plant, it's gross, but they want to plant their seed in as many human beings as possible to create as many reptilian hybrids as possible so that they take over or take back their power on this planet. Like I said, they are scared. They are scared because there's too many of us, right? So I have this one client, and she I don't know if she married the reptilian, but she basically had a son with this reptilian. The reptilian man, shapeshifter, because he looked like a human, and he was like in and out of jail and like, typical, really typical. But the man that she had a son with was a very high-ranking reptilian shapeshifter. Like, I don't know if king would be the right word, but like very high-ranking. She was a very high-ranking light worker. They had this son. I think her son is now 12, 13, something like that. Anyway, we had a series of sessions. It was probably like 10 sessions that we had. And every single session, it was something else. Like, she lives in this gorgeous house, and there would be reptilians, like full reptilians with the tails, like not even in their shape-shifting form, on the outskirts of her property, threatening her, right? She would get weird things like in the middle of the night, 3 a.m., people would come up to her door, banging on her door, and she had the ring camera, right? Like, I mean, just really messed up, like just really twisted things because they're trying to intimidate her. So these reptilians, these high-ranking reptilians, would literally embody other human bodies and just mess with her and her son and her family. And then, of course, these children who are reptilian shapeshifters, they're all kinds of screwed up and messed up. They've got that high frequency of fight or flight mechanisms, and they are the problem children. They are the children, when they're like 4 years old saying, I'm going to kill you, like, they've got that connection to that realm, and it's very easy for reptilian souls, the darker ones, to embody and inhabit their physical body. So yeah, so it's really, I've kind of looked at this scenario from all angles, let alone I've dated a reptilian shapeshifter myself. And and the amount of skewing of like the light. One of the things that I didn't mention in my reptilian video that he used to do all the time, and it only ever hit me like months and months, if not years after, was every time we were together, I would always close my fists, right? I would always have my fist closed. And he would always tell me, he's like, oh, you're blocking your energy, sweetheart. Just open your hands, allow the energy to flow, right? Because he's a spiritual hippie guy. And I met him at a freaking spiritual hippie festival. And so open your hands, oh, hun, just let the energy. And I didn't realize at the time that I was actually freaking closing off my energy and blocking my energy from him. And nowadays, I never close my palms. I never close my hands unless I'm getting psychically attacked. And then I'll notice halfway through the night, what am I doing? I'm closing my hands, right? So it's just really, really messed up what they do. But also, now that I've experienced them, come at me, bro. I'm not scared of you, Because I'm not scared of death. Like, literally, if I were taken off this planet tomorrow, I'd be so happy. I would be so fulfilled. I've done my work. I've written a couple books now. Like, put it all out there, you know. It won't happen, guys. I'm contracted to live well into my hundreds in this lifetime. So, nothing to worry about there. Okay, so Taylor P. I've noticed you've never done a video about elementals before, fairies, etc. I'm really drawn to fairies, and I was hoping you could talk a little bit more in depth about them and their realm and their relation to us. If you guys want to meet some fairies and know or see, witness a little bit of my channeling with the elementals, please check out the Journey series with my dad. Like, it was so much fun. When I went to the Redwoods, right, the first thing I felt is the overwhelming wave of elemental energy that is in Northern California, that is within the Redwoods. Like, it was so profound. It was so cool. Like, I met was it 3 or 4? I think it was 4, because I had 3 of them sniffing my jacket, and then I was talking to one of them. I forget what her name was now. It was so magical, guys. So I met them. I met the fairies in the Redwoods. I mean, she gifted me with a little twig, a little stick, and the stick represented the energy of the fairies in the Redwoods. I also kind of tapped into the energy of gnomes. I don't know what else to call them. I don't think they probably like to be called gnomes, but they literally look like gnomes. Like, they are these like little, maybe 1 foot high to 2 foot high humanoid type beings. And my dad and I, believe it or not, the next day after channeling the fairies and talking to them, and they had a profound message for all of humanity. So good. Like, they were so sweet and cute, and they would just giggle all the time. And they thought I was a hoot, I guess, because I could channel them and see them. Anyway, so the gnomes try and stay away from human beings, and Dad and I, the next day, we walked up to Ceremony Rock, which was like at this like Patrick's Point. It was just so gorgeous, off the coast. And we walked up Ceremony Rock, and as we're walking up this huge, it's called Ceremony Rock, there are all these pathways. Like, it was so wild, guys. Literally gnome pathways, like 1 foot to 2 feet high paths for these gnomes. And so then when I got to the top of Ceremony Rock, I was channeling it, and at nighttime, when there's no humans, the gnomes and the fairies would all come to the top of Ceremony Rock and celebrate and have this, like, I don't know if they were like playing fiddles or whatever was going on, but they would just celebrate and laugh and be merry, and it was just so amazing to witness. So yeah, if you want to know more about that channeling and my journey, once again, check out the Journey. Like I said, it's $22, and 50% of that goes to an indigenous charity that for sure I know is reputable, and 90 cents of every dollar sent to them goes right to the reserves, and they service over 11 reserves with food and water and clothing and different materials. So it's actually called One Nation Walking Together, which I love as well, because they're not just for one tribe, which is cool. Okay, cool. All right, Incarnated Elohim. Will the vaccine impact our RNA receptors, which could impede the activation of our 13 double helix DNA? Okay, so I'm going to get more into, like, I'm really going to hound the Galactic Federation for the December 11th YouTube free video, okay? I'm going to really hound them on the vaccine. I have a funny feeling, though. I'm just going to state my funny feeling, and then I'm going to move on and let them answer at that time. There is a double agenda that's at play. Okay, you know what? I just want to make this statement. It's really important. What I have realized over the past year, right? Here we are, end of 2020. One thing that I have really anchored into my system is the understanding that there is a double agenda at play with everything, okay? And I actually realized this was in a video that I channeled, probably back in April. I think it was after my GFL video in March, but it was another Galactic Federation message update, and I think it was in April or May. And the message that came through, and it was from the Galactic Federation, what they said about the virus, okay, let's just call it that, is that it was created in a laboratory a long time ago, like 30, 40 years ago. This thing that we have right now, okay, it was created in a laboratory years and years ago. In that moment, when they told me that, I started to realize that the Galactic Federation has been watching all of this from the top down. If we are in the third dimension frequency, and all we are doing is observing the fourth dimension frequency, which is the reptilians, the shadow government, the Illuminati, the cabal, the this, the that, the agenda, the new world order, fuck yeah, it's gonna be scary. I don't blame you for being scared. But you're only looking at one agenda. Where are we existing in right now? We're living in a binary universe. If you're only focusing on the dark, you're only taking a look at one side of the coin, my friends. Just like if you're only looking at your physical reality, you're only observing one side of this frequency, of this matrix, the physical one. There's also the energetic. Yes, all of this in the fourth dimension plane exists. Yes, it's all happening. But guess what's happening above that? And the word above is so key with this. Above the fourth dimension density are all the other dimensions, are all the other beings. They have infinite amounts of technology. They have infinite amounts of cures for anything that's going on. They have the solutions to everything that we're experiencing right now. And they're observing everything. They're witnessing everything that's going on right now. They've known that this is going to happen. And the reason why they've let it happen is for our highest good. I'm going to repeat that. The reason why they've let this happen is for our highest good. The amount of people that have awakened in 2020? Like, come on. Thank you. Thank you, virus. Thank you, shutdowns. Thank you, quarantine. Thank you, government. Thank you, shadow government, so much for moving ahead with your plan when you think that you're actually in control. It's a little bit laughable, right? You guys think that you're actually in control here? Like, come on. And the more and more that we think that they are in control, guess what happens? The more control they have. The shadow governments, the negative reptilians, are not in control, guys. Guess what's above the Galactic Federation? Source frequency. Guess what we are? Source frequency. So above the cabal, above the Galactic Federation, above every single dimension density in this universe, is just source. Infinite oneness, infinite wisdom, infinite love. That's what we are. We are a fractal of that. We are above it all. We are above all polarity. We are above all agendas. We are above all incarnations. We are above all species. We have the ultimate power. Yeah, there's two agendas at play. Yeah, they're talking heavily about mandatory vaccines. If it wasn't meant to happen, it would be stopped. If you don't want it to happen, you need to ask for it to be stopped. Because we are the ultimate power. Don't wait for the Galactic Federation to save you, and don't wait for the Illuminati to kill you. You get to choose. Use your ability of conscious thought. The vibrations are spiking at this time. It's time for you to put your foot down. It's time for you to take your power back. It's time for you to ask for what you want individually and collectively. That power is yours. It was always yours. okay? There are two agendas at play. And above and beyond that, we're more powerful than both of them combined. All right, so let's go into a couple more questions. Okay, Chloe Gomez. Reptilians are not going to hide for much longer, right? I mean, it's becoming so obvious, which makes me wonder if they break that contract with the Galactic Federation and reveal themselves even more, or well, fully, because they can't hide any longer, do they have to leave? Great question. So this goes back to that original channeling from ancient Egypt where the GFL came through and said, you guys got to get off this planet or you can't be seen by human beings. And so the reptilians skew that, and of course they're not seen by us. And you bring up a great point, Chloe. I believe absolutely, 100%, hands down, that it's possible for us to override that vibration. And as the Schumann resonance spikes, as we increase our consciousness, the reptilians and the shapeshifters, and if you guys watch my Instagram stories, you'll know, they can no longer hold their form anymore. Back in the day, I was experiencing a lot of glitches in the Matrix and seeing reptilians shapeshift in front of me, whether it be on TV or in person. You know, it was quite obvious for me because I was at that higher vibration. I could tap into 4D and say, you can't hide from me. You got nothing, you know? And so nowadays, we're going to see newscasters, politicians, celebrities, musicians. They are going to start to avoid live video appearances. And the reason why is because, watch their eyes, they will shift right in front of you. So yeah, they can't hide anymore. Their technology cannot hold their shape-shifting human form because the vibration is too high. They exist and they thrive in density. They don't have that as a cloak anymore. All right, Trisha. Hi, EA. I'm curious about angels, archangels, and angelic realms. How involved are they with humans? What is their purpose? And then you also said, I've asked a few times, so maybe it's not meant to be answered. So interesting. Well, Trisha, it is meant to be answered today. 100%. I love angels. I work with them all the time. They are definitely, in my opinion, one of the most common species that are around planet Earth and human beings. There are different levels of angels and angelic beings out there. I'm not going to go too much into them. What else did I want to say? Yeah, how are they involved with humans? Their mission for planet Earth is to bring us back to source frequency. The angels' mission is to bring us back to the remembrance that we are unconditional love. That, I mean, they're so pure in their own right. Like they have such a purity in them that they are able to bring us the remembrance and that reminder of that purity, which is really beautiful and incredible. So I would say that that's their purpose. They're just a really beautiful, pure species. Okay, incarnated Elohim. What is the spiritual hierarchy or relationship between extra-dimensional beings, ascended masters, archangels, Elohim, and the elementals? I don't want to say that there's a hierarchy between all of these different incarnations. I want to say that they're all pieces of a puzzle and they all fit together in different ways, especially when you get to higher realms. Like, say, for example, my 12th dimensional mantis counterpart, right, Khan. He would never say to me that he's above me. Never. There would never be any sort of hierarchy between him and I, even though I'm here in the third dimension, right? There's none of that. So they're all different. They're just all different dimensional realms that we can incarnate into, whether it be the Ascended Masters or the Archangels or the Elohim or the Elementals. They're all just pieces of the greater puzzle of, hey, how do you want to experience existence in this lifetime? And where do you want to incarnate, right? Okay, CPO 717. Can you talk about walk-ins? As a walk-in, as in walk-in souls that step into, fulfill the rest of a person's contract. I believe it was Dolores Cannon who said that a physical person wouldn't know that they're a walk-in as they come in with that original person's memories. Yeah, so I've actually done a lot of sessions with clients who are walk-ins. And, you know, what do I want to say about walk-ins? Everyone experiences a walk-in experience differently. A lot of the clients that I've had sessions with, though, are fully aware of when the walk-in happened. Maybe it was at 18, maybe it was at 10, maybe it was at 35. You know, I think that the older the walk-in experience happens, the more difficult it is to acclimate. Now, what's really interesting, so let's just say a walk-in experience is a higher dimensional being walking in to your body right now. I don't know what the common rhetoric is around what other channelers or people think about walk-ins. What I've channeled time and time again is that a walk-in experience, or the being that is walking into the body, is actually just a fractal or a parallel version of that person's self or soul walking into the body. So, for example, that would be like me being Elizabeth, April, I guess, in this lifetime incarnation in this body, and then later down the line having Khan, being the 12th dimensional being, walking into my body. So a lot of people believe, oh my goodness, it's an interdimensional, an alien taking over a human body. I believe that it's actually just a parallel version of yourself walking in to the moment to upgrade your existence and to help you along with your mission. And I believe that those walk-in experiences have always been contracted. Nowadays, when we move into the 5th dimension frequency, I believe, this is interesting, it's just coming together for me, but I haven't really thought about it, but this kind of clicked in. So I believe that walk-ins are actually a thing of the past, and the reason why they're a thing of the past is because it's very linear. I am Elizabeth right now, now I am Khan, you know, it's one or the other. When we move into 5D frequency, when we move into this weird simultaneous quantum state, everything is existing, everything is happening simultaneously. So me as Elizabeth April can tune into Khan, I can tune into Hera, I can tune into my Lyran self, or my angelic self, or my Atlantean self, or my who knows. I don't need one part of me in a different dimension or frequency to step into my body right now in order to gain access to that wisdom, knowledge, power, or abilities. I don't. I can tap into that infinitely in the present moment without needing to have such a almost traumatic experience with the walk-in to happen. I believe that walk-ins are a thing of the past, and I believe that we can take that concept, move it into a quantum realm, and tap into an infinite amount of our parallel selves simultaneously in the moment, because we have the DNA within us as hybrid beings to do that. Cool. Okay. Okay, Kaylee, hopefully I'm saying that your name right. Hi, EA. Can you talk a little bit more about having chips implanted by aliens? How do you know if you're chipped, and how do you get rid of them? Or do you even need to get rid of them? What purpose do they serve? All right, so essentially, a lot of people have chips. Most people, I think, most conscious people, let's say, have chips. The reason why I say most conscious people have chips is because if you're a high vibrational being, a starseed, a light worker, an old soul, you're going to get targeted by the dark side, and they're going to chip you to lower your vibration, or you're going to be helped by the light side, and they're going to chip you to raise your vibration. So, I mean, I've been chipped in a very negative way, and I've been chipped in a very positive way. Even my dad, when we were on the road trip, I checked his body for chips in the hour-long interview that we had. And I think he had I think he had 3 or 4 of them. And so a lot of the time these chips are, they're kind of like organic technology. I don't know how else to say that. It's technology, but it's organic, which means that once the chip deactivates, it kind of just gets consumed by your body. Like, it's kind of gross to think about, but now typically you won't know if you've been chipped unless you've been very consciously aware of getting abducted or actually seeing the experience of getting chipped. It's going to be very difficult for you to tell if you have a chip. However, if a chip malfunctions, you will feel it. Some people feel like a buzzing or a zapping in the area of their body. Some people have just an intuition of where a chip may be. Some people can feel a chip in their body, you know, in their arm or something, right? It's tough to tell. So ultimately, what you can mention is you can talk to your spirit guides and your higher self and say, make a statement of, if there are any chips or implants that do not serve my highest good or my highest progression or my mission here on this planet, please remove them now, okay? Or please deactivate them. Or, you know, anything along those lines. I choose to deactivate any and all chips or implants that no longer serve my highest good, right? I mean, you can work with the words here and there. But yeah, so I believe that a lot of us have these chips, both positive and negative. And a lot of the positive implants and chips are to actually help us with telepathy. And it's almost like every time I channel someone with a positive chip, it's weird. I don't know. The image that comes to mind is like, if you could imagine a beaker, like a clear beaker, like a scientific beaker, and it has the measurements on it. So every time your vibration raises and it hits a certain level, like 10, 20, 30, 40, whatever, every time your vibration raises and hits a certain level, it'll actually trigger the activation of the chip. So when you were 4 years old, you could have gotten 5 implants or 5 chips in your body, all for the positive, but they didn't get activated till 18, till 26, till 32, till 38, and what have you, okay, based on your vibrational frequency. So, I mean, yeah, so chips are interesting. They aren't the end all to be all. I've overridden many of my own implants and chips that are negative just with my vibration. And you can do things like psychic surgery on yourself to remove them and deactivate them, or making those statements, and your galactic family will help you deactivate those negative chips that keep us trapped in the matrix. Eventually, once your vibration is high enough, you don't even have to worry about the negative chips because they will not work in your high vibrational system. Just like the good chips get activated, right? When you raise your frequency, the bad chips get deactivated when you raise your frequency. Okay. And one more question, but before I end off with this awesome question, I just want to say, if you resonated with this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up, all right? I see a bunch of people watching, and I see a fraction of those people who have actually thumbs up. So give this video a like. Be sure to subscribe to my channel for more epic content, and definitely set an alarm for your phone for December 11th at 3 p.m. PST. That's going to be the free and live Galactic Federation check-in session. And yeah, and then if you want to ask me questions every single week, please check out my membership program. I've got 100+ videos that have never been released before to the public. And of course, you get to ask me questions, and there's tarot card polls. And and every Thursday, there's a brand new video for all of you members. So definitely check that out. And thank you, members, for being here. Some of you have been here for 6 months. Some of you just signed up. So I really appreciate all of you so much. Okay, last but not least, question from Riley Fisher. New member, by the way. Thank you, Riley, for joining. Hey, Elizabeth, I'm wondering if you had to give one piece of advice on what people can do to heighten their vibration most to align with 5D energy, what would it be? Great question, Riley. All right. So one piece of advice, I mean, I have so many, but one piece of advice to help people raise their vibrational frequency to move into 5D. It would be one word. And the word is listen. You are already an infinite soul of pure white light. You are already 5D and well beyond 5D. We don't allow ourselves enough time and space in our day, even in quarantine, to listen to the frequency and the energy and the vibrations and the synchronicities and the manifestations that you are cultivating and creating around you. And when I say the word listen, I really mean the word focus. What are you focusing on? It's okay to numb your mind and watch a bunch of Netflix. That is literally a huge proponent of that. That's okay. But do it consciously. It's okay to pour yourself a glass of wine at the end of the day, but do so consciously. The second that you recognize and realize that you have reverted back to autopilot programming, you are escaping the present moment of this reality. It's okay to do things or to eat things that are not serving your highest vibration. But if you're removing yourself from making that choice and being aware of the choice that you've made, you're escaping. You can eat a burger tomorrow and you can thank the animal that it came from. And you can appreciate that moment. And by being consciously aware of that moment and appreciating it and sending it gratitude, you are actually transmuting the vibration of fear that you're about to eat. And you're giving validation and love to the animal that did sacrifice its life, right? It's so important that we need to realize that our next moment is based on our last moment, not of what we did, but of what we focused on. Universal concepts like murdering someone or killing someone, that's not necessarily a wrong thing. It's only wrong if you perceive it as such. And I know this is a crazy concept, but if someone was coming at you with a gun or a knife and you just defended yourself, is that wrong? Is that still wrong? Let go of all preconceived notions of what is right and what is wrong, of what society, of what religion, of what your parents have put on you time and time again. They are all disillusions. No one is able to tell you what is right or what is wrong. It is only how you perceive this world and the actions that you are taking that create the vibrational frequency of high or low. It is not up to your actions. It is always, and has always been, up to your perceptions. You are a magical conscious being. The only thing that will ever pivot you into 3D or 5D is your focus, is your awareness. If you're drinking a glass of wine at the end of the night, love yourself while doing it. Because it's the only vibration to exist in. Thank you all so much, as always, for being here. Feel free to donate or check out the journey, and that really helps the Indigenous, and it helps me as well. So thank you all so much, and I will be back around tomorrow for another epic truth download and mic drop moments. Bye for now. Have a beautiful rest of your Sunday.